Hello, everybody. Happy October. My name is Brian. I'm here with my friends Matt and Nick.
Hi.
Uh,
All together now. We didn't rehearse that.
yeah. We wanted to do some creepy reads. So these are all taken, unless otherwise stated, from creepypasta.com. And I will also read out the author's name. And all credit, of course, goes to them. Anything else, legal department?
I think you pretty much covered it.
Then let us begin. Our first story is called A Trip to the Cemetery. On an early dim morning, an elderly woman rested her hand atop a gravestone. Henry Blackwood, 1938 to 2004. She rested flowers on it and wept, something she didn't usually do. She always made sure to bring something of Henry's when she made her annual visit to his grave. Her memory wasn't what it used to be, and her brain needed help to get it jogged. She brought something he hated, his hearing aids. She remembered wistfully how he never used them, always insisting he had excellent hearing despite keeping the television's volume up so high. Now all she wanted was his return. Oh, what? Now all she wanted was his return to her loving embrace. It's worded funny.
It is, yeah.
Okay. Oh, Henry!
That's a candy.
It certainly is a candy. Oh, Henry! She fell to her knees and looked to the sky. How I wish you'd come back to me! Up in the sky and through her blurred, teary vision, she saw a red star. It was faint, but she heard a malignant chuckle, and the star flashed to match it. Then it disappeared with the rising sun. Wait, what?
The chuckle disappeared.
She was there, like, really early. Okay, anyway. She wiped away her tears. Strange. Was it a product of her imagination? She stood up and surveyed the area, but saw nothing. It seemed like the moment was merely nothing but old, senile, womanly mood swings. As she smiled at her silly old self, a question came to her that felt like part of a dark realization. Could the battery in the hearing aid still work? She attached it to her best ear and turned it on. She could hear the rustling of crow feathers in a nearby tree. It probably still worked due to her husband's lack of commitment to use it. Then, swallowing hard, she rested her ear on the ground above his grave. Her mouth dropped in horror as she heard scratching, shuffling, and a familiar voice bellowing a horrified scream. Credit to Johnny V on creepypasta.com for that one.
I like that turnaround.
The turnaround?
At the end, like, it just kind of came to a cool little...
Yeah. That bitch be crazy. Or her husband's still alive? Or... Oh.
I just noticed.
Hold on, guys. Just imagine that you listen to all of that, to that picture right there. Alright? Henry's can be the one with all the bird poop on it, or the black heart one right there. Unless that's like a symbolic thing. I don't know. Alright. Yeah, bird poop, see? It's like all bird poopy. Okay. Our next story will be accompanied by this guy.
Oh, dear Lord.
Oh, yeah. And it is called deepest fear. It took me a month to figure out the pattern it was using to kill us off. At first it was Jack, who was found dead, lying face down and submerged in his own bathtub. His mother had been the one that found him, the poor woman. Her lifeless body was discovered a week later, after countless complaints from her apartment neighbors about a pungent odor. After breaking into the home, the police found her hanging from a rope from the rafters of her bedroom. It went after Diane next. Diane, who had been a victim of dog mauling when she was just 5 years old, was discovered just a week after Jack's mother was found. Her body, lying by the side of the forest surrounding town, was practically ripped to shreds. There were countless bite and claw marks, courtesy of a pack of stray dogs that had been roaming the neighborhood for weeks. It went after Kyle. A week back, I could tell that Kyle had been suspecting something was wrong. His text messages to me grew increasingly frantic as he began telling me about a strange figure. A clown, he said, climbing out of his closet night after night and standing at the foot of his bed. At first I had thought nothing of it. Kyle had always been a pretty highly strung kid since young. I'll read it as it is, since young. And was prone to panic attacks. So this was probably just one of his outbreaks. Calm down, I recalled telling him. It's probably a serial killer. Just keep your doors and windows shut and locked. Just calm down and your hallucinations will go away. Boy, was I wrong.
In his head, he sounds like that a creepy man.
Yeah, he thinks creepily, but to everyone else, he's Big Louie. Kyle's body was found just 2 days ago, after he failed to show up to breakfast on time that morning. His mother had gone up to his bedroom to wake him, when she found him cold and rigid, his eyes glassy and opened wide, staring straight ahead at the foot of the bed. There were no wounds or bruises of any sort. The coroner later on declared Kyle's cause of death to be a heart attack. That's when I realized that something was really wrong. It couldn't have been the work of a serial killer. It just didn't add up. It had to be something supernatural, something that could target and attack our deepest, darkest fears, something that could pit our fears against us. And then he explains why. You see, Jack, who had drowned, was always terrified of water. Jack's mother, who doted daily on her son, had always been overly protective of Jack. His death would have been the ultimate blow to her. Next was Diane, who had always been extremely fearful of dogs ever since her childhood incident. And Kyle, who had always had an irrational fear of clowns. Well, you get the idea. As for me, I've always been afraid of the dark. I can tell it's coming for me. I've recently begun seeing crazy hallucinations, shadows morphing into indistinguishable shapes of monsters and demons, things that no normal human being should be seeing. I'm no fool. He sounds like it in real life, though. Like, if you heard this guy talk, he sounds like the biggest idiot.
Oh.
I know my time is coming. Even as I am writing this, I can hear it, moaning my name over and over again from the darkest corner of my room. I've given up keeping on the lights. I've given up fighting. It's no use anymore. I'm just so exhausted. Goodbye. Credit to Angelica NG. I'm sorry, I don't... How would you say that?
Mm.
Nyung. Nyung. She also has a Twitter, but I don't have that name. Look for Angelica on Twitter. Oh. Oh my.
I'm the voice that's calling from the corner of the room.
You certainly are. You okay, Nick?
Yes. I'm slightly leaky.
Oh, God. Well, let's get rid of him.
He was crying at the sight of that clown.
And Nick had to go to the kitchen to dry his little eyes after the clown picture.
It'll haunt my dreams forever.
Okay. Our next story is called The Reaper in the Trees. And here's some creepy trees. I mean, they're not really that creepy, but, you know. There may be strange details in this story. Not all of them will seem to add up and appear to be significant, but it's all true. That sort of statement is common with these types of stories, but this time it is meant in absolute earnest. My grandfather was a mortician, and about a year after he retired, he himself passed on. He and I shared the exact same name, and it was slightly unsettling to hear my own name in the eulogy. To witness firsthand the lowering of a casket, revealing one's own name on the headstone. It gave the whole event a sort of dreamlike quality. I suppose such things got me thinking of my own mortality more than a funeral normally should. After the burial, we drove past the funeral home. Really? Any more? You sure? Okay.
Immersion!
After the burial, we drove past the old funeral home. The business had been handed over to a new guy who did an alright job, I guess.
Very, very colloquial there.
Yeah, he just spends his time there. Grandpa looked okay, though that wasn't on my mind. There was a large tree in the front yard of the old funeral home. Near the peak of the tree, amongst its naked branches, was a wicked Grim Reaper Halloween decoration. 7 feet in height.
I'm fucking sorry. I'm gonna go the I tried so fucking hard. Oh, I'm sorry.
This blast of noise brought to you by the
Edit that. I'm very, very sorry.
I knew it was coming.
I was trying. I'm going over here now.
Okay.
I blame your cats.
Near the peak of the tree, amongst its naked branches, was a wicked Grim Reaper Halloween decoration. He's still laughing.
Stop it.
That's what this voice does to people.
And scene.
Near the peak of the tree, amongst its naked branches, was a wicked Grim... I can't even do it.
Somehow that laugh is creepy.
You're laughing at a funeral. 7 feet high in height. Go outside! Don't come back!
It's not even the voice.
I know. It's the severity. I'm completely not editing any of this out.
I know. It's like it's fun. It's like a podcast.
And now he's maniacally laughing outside.
Creepy dreams.
7 feet high in height, its dark robes fluttered ominously in the wind like a flag of morbid purpose. Characteristically, its face wasn't visible, but nor was its blade. It was already early. It was already early November, so I guess the new undertaker was just putting off taking him down. Still, though, it was a bit ghastly for a funeral home. As we returned to Grandma's house, everyone was talking about how much they were going to miss Grandpa. How sorry they were that he was gone. What a great guy he was. A real funny bloke. Gonna miss his smile. Except they never called him Grandpa, instead always opting to use my name. It felt like I was looking into the future, glimpsing my own passing, and it conjured up resonating images of the Reaper again, pointing at me, staring through me behind his hood, enveloping me in his darkness. After an evening of uncomfortable mourning, I'd had enough. I said I needed to take a walk and clear my head. The nice thing about small towns is the absolute isolation and quiet that comes with nightfall. During my wanderings, I gazed into a fenced backyard. The skull of a buffalo hung on a fence post. I wasn't sure if that was also a leftover Halloween decoration. I wasn't sure if it was anything. A squeaky mini windmill gave off an endless cycle of tiny screams to the garden gnomes quietly gazing at nothing.
I kind of like that little imagery there.
This guy's good. Guy or girl? I adjusted my coat's collar and stepped across the street towards my grandfather's old place of work. I figured that sick decoration from earlier would look even better at night. I tilted my head upwards and was surprised to find nothing clutched in the leafless branches of the overgrown maple. Either he was finally taken down, or its black robes cloaked the Reaper in the darkness of night. I somehow felt it was the latter, as his deathly presence was actually made more real by the lack of physical manifestation. That was my whimsical thought as I walked back across the street from the funeral home, when all of a sudden a gust of wind kicked up the sand, and I heard a loud scraping noise on the concrete behind me. Had I not been on edge from the funeral home, I would have figured it was the wind blowing a tree branch across the road. But as of that moment, it sounded so much like a scythe being grazed upon the concrete that my legs sent me sprinting back to my grandmother's, like prey from a predator. When I returned, I saw my grandmother and family playing Pinocle.
Yeah.
Pinocle.
Pinocle.
Pinocle. Pinochle.
Any viewers, comment description of how to pronounce that word.
And how to play it, really. I mean,
Yeah.
if you can't pronounce the name of a game, probably can't play it either. My heart was hammering a hole through my chest. They asked me why I looked so frightened. I rubbed my forehead of sweat, closed my eyes, and smiled. It was so stupid. I told them everything, chuckling as I did. Had the day affected my mindset, the Grim Reaper in the tree, and the grazing on the road? They laughed and said the day was stressful on all of us. They asked me to join them. I happily complied. I took off my jacket and put it on the chair. I was about to sit down, but suddenly I paused. My uncle asked me what was wrong, and my grandmother asked me why I looked so pale. I couldn't hear them.
Wait.
They might as well have spoken in tongues, for upon my coat there lay a single diagonal gash upon the back.
He said that his uncle asked him what was wrong, and his mother asked him why he looked pale, but he couldn't hear them.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it's small potatoes.
that aside, pretty well written, pretty nice imagery.
I'm like a time traveler there for a second.
Yeah?
Like with my grandfather had the same name as me kind of thing.
Is that what you were thinking?
Mm-hmm. Like it literally was a vision of the future.
Could be. Let's leave the trees now. I realized there was only one tree and a Halloween decoration, but you know.
Should I go tell Nick to stay outside?
No. See if he wants to come back in.
All right.
Sorry. Spooky cats. Come back, Uncle Nick!
Oh my god, it's so cold outside.
Oh, you didn't really have to stay out there.
I just didn't want to ruin the thing anymore that I already did.
No.
Well, by the way, I'm not editing any of this.
Oh god damn it.
It's a podcast, dude. Essentially. With no editing.
Yeah, I'd be a great reader today.
Yeah.
Someone did something with the thing.
That's probably how I sound.
You actually sound good.
Are you sitting comfortably?
Not yet.
Hello, my name is Brian Husky.
Then let us begin.
Oh shit, are you still recording?
Yeah.
It's all one take, bro.
My bad.
Chef Young Nicholas.
Ugh.
You do your podcasts, I do mine.
Yeah.
Although not on a pod. Our next story. Oh wait, I didn't give credit to this guy. I will add it to the comments. I don't know what happened.
Reaper in the Trees, author, you will be mentioned.
Yeah, the Reaper in the Trees on Creepypasta. I will get you. I'll get you. What if his name was like something gadget?
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Yes, so the next story is called Disconnected.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ever since I was a young child, that automated recording that plays when you try to call someone but can't has frightened me to the core. You know, the one that goes, "We're sorry, but the number you have reached has been disconnected." And it's always preceded by that sound, those 3 tones, which just amplifies my paranoia.
I'm just gonna do it periodically throughout the story.
Anytime I hear that message, I can feel my skin go pale. Wait, what?
Yeah.
I guess.
You feel this, yeah.
Blood
Yeah,
leaving
the
your...
fear. Yeah.
Every hair on my body stands up, all while I'm paralyzed in fear. I don't know why I react like that to a simply informative automated message. It just sets something off in my brain. But when it's at night, nothing compares to that level, that degree of pure, unbridled horror. Surrounded in the black of night, accompanied only by that robotic, emotionless voice. There was nothing worse. Or so I thought. I'm a shy, withdrawn guy. I stay inside most of the day, usually by myself. I don't tend to socialize. Not in public, that is. But behind the computer screen, I'm as social as can be. For quite some time now, I've been thinking of changing that. Me and my friend Alan had known each other since the 3rd grade. We were basically inseparable. But there was a major difference between the two of us. Whereas I'm shy and withdrawn, he's popular and outgoing, always being invited to parties and scoring with the hottest girls. He's always invited me to these parties, and I've always come up with some lame excuse not to go. But not tonight. Tonight is a Friday, the scariest of days. And I know he'll ask me to go, as per usual. I waited and waited until finally my cell phone rang. It was Alan, as expected. I went to hit the answer button, but instead hesitated. Do I really want to do this? I asked myself. I thought for a moment and came to the conclusion that I did. Hey, Alan, what's up? I asked.
What do you think is up, man? It's party night. Are you in for once?
He replied rather enthusiastically. I took a deep breath. You know what? Yeah, I'm in. Where at?
His voice changed.
You know.
Yeah. This is a deep
Holy shit, really? Alright, man. The party's at 2736 Linwood. You know where that's at?
I vaguely remembered that street. I knew only that it was near my old elementary school. Sure, man. I'll see you there. And I hung up the phone. I threw on my hoodie and put on some worn-out Converses.
Copyright.
Yeah, trade, whatever.
Trademark.
Since I didn't have a car, I'd be walking quite far. I grabbed my phone, put it in my pocket, and left for the party. It was around 9 o'clock when I left. Now it's 10:37. No matter how much I tried to believe I wasn't lost, it was to no avail. I knew I had to call Alan for a ride. I pulled out my phone and went to my contacts list and called him. But the phone to my ear... I put the phone to my ear as I paced up and down the sidewalk of a street I'd never been on before. But he didn't answer. Instead, I was greeted with this. We're sorry. The number you have reached has been disconnected. The moment I heard that, I stopped dead in my tracks. My eyes widened in fear. No way, I thought to myself. How could he be disconnected? We just spoke over an hour ago. I tried calling him again. Maybe it was just some weird glitch on my phone. We're sorry. The number you have reached has been disconnected.
Beep, beep, beep.
I tightened the grip on my phone until my knuckles turned white. What the fuck is going on? I decided I'd call 911. There's no way they'd be disconnected, right? We're sorry. The number you have reached has been disconnected.
Beep, beep, beep. That's terrible.
Wee. I froze in horror. I knew something was very wrong. At this point, I threw my phone on the ground as hard as I could and stomped on it relentlessly. Something had to be wrong with the phone itself. I was sure of it. After the phone had been smashed to an unrecognizable mass of plastic, I noticed a payphone down the street, visible only due to a dim, flickering street lamp that obviously hadn't been maintained in years. I fished a quarter out of my pocket and ran down to it, driven by fear and paranoia. I frantically jammed the quarter in and dialed 911 once again. Do you need a quarter to dial 911?
Not usually, no.
Okay.
Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe.
Well, you know,
Never tried.
it's a public service, right? We're sorry. The number you have reached has been disconnected. Much better! I dropped the phone, leaving it dangling by its metallic cord. There was something different this time. That message, that emotionally detached voice. It didn't come from the phone. It was right behind me. Credit to Ryuzaki.
I'm going the fuck back outside.
No, sit down. You're fine. Was it bad sleeping?
Yes. It was like a dying duck having an orgasm.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
Not busy. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Thank
Oh,
you,
shit.
Ryuzaki. Thank you, Mateo.
Yay! I'm helping.
Ugh.
It was the world's worst Pokemon. I'm sorry. Inbred side up.
Sorry.
Oh.
Ugh.
Alright. Alright.
One more.
I don't think I'm gonna make it, dude.
And if nobody's terrified by now, perhaps you should be.
Just read the name of this one. We'll like immediately throw that out.
Are you good, Nick?
Yep.
You gonna make it?
I think so. Oh god.
The title of this story is The Popcorn Ceiling. Okay. What?
Picture.
The picture.
Popcorn.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Ceiling.
Grody.
You.
After my parents' divorce, and for too many years after my twin sister Ginny would make... Oh wait, hold on.
Commas.
Yeah, really. Okay. After my parents' divorce, and for too many years after, my twin sister Ginny would wake me up unexpectedly in the middle of the night. Her demeanor would always be frightened and scared when she did. It always reminded me of when we were kids and she would escape to my room, away from our drunken and abusive mother. Ginny would just sit on the floor at the side of my bed and brush at my hands as we stared at each other in a comforting embrace. 5, sometimes 10 minutes would go by until she would start to pull away and I'd know it was over. We would never talk, but we never had to. She just needed a place to escape. A September night, nearly 4 years ago, was different. I would have chosen to use 1, but Ginny was exceptionally frightened and crying inconsolably. For the first time since we were children, I could feel her grasp my hand to wake me. Her grip was cold, damp, and trembling in fear. She was so scared and helpless that I felt equally scared and helpless. This is a common empathy twins share, especially so for Ginny and I. After 20 minutes of comforting her, or roughly so, and holding her as tight as I could, I felt her slipping away again. This time she begged and pleaded to stay with me. We would never talk during her escapes, but this night was different. As I lunged and jumped to keep her from floating away, I lost my ability to feel and touch her. She floated up onto the popcorn ceiling and was dragged across harsh surfaces until she melted into the sheetrock and out of sight. The vision of her petrified face and desperately extended hand will forever be seared into my memory. Her husband must have been exceptionally rough that night 4 years ago, much like my mother often was when Ginny was a child. When I watched her fade away, I knew I would never see her again. For some reason, I just knew. Confirming what I already knew, I received the bad news the next morning about her violent murder and rape at the hands of her husband. Even though I already knew the how and the why, the police never could explain the scrape marks and dust on Ginny's back. I guess I could have told them, but what good would it have done anyway? Only a twin would and could understand. I had not felt the embrace of my sister in nearly 10 years prior to that moment. For whatever reason, I was able to feel her again for one last time, to be with her when she needed me most, like I always was when we were children. It never mattered that we were always 1,000 miles apart.
Always. 1,000 miles.
Always. Always.
Also, I really like the name of this author. I only wish it was to the previous story.
Aww, credit to StupidDialUp. Which, yeah, had it been the previous story, it would have gone along really well. But, yeah. So those have been our creepy reads. Feel free to tell us what you thought of Nick's uncontrollable laughter.
My apparently dying duck orgasm noise.
Yeah. Or the stories themselves. Be sure to give credit to the authors on Creepypasta. And I'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.